welcome to another edition of Chicago Football Playbook, where we're going to reevaluate where the Bears stand on offense heading into the NFL draft. And Arthur, you look at who we have on the offensive side of the ball. It looks a lot similar to last year. The big new names, you got Eddie Royal as your new slot receiver. Will Montgomery takes over for Roberto Garza at center. And let's start with our first big question mark, maybe first big position of need when it comes to the draft at number 7, where the Bears are going to pick in the first round. Marquise Wilson's right now your number 3 receiver or your other outside receiver. Not sure if that's an ideal situation for the Bears, which is why Amari Cooper, Kevin White could be possibilities.
Yeah, they definitely need to find a replacement for Brandon Marshall. Clearly not on the roster right now. Eddie Royal was a nice addition, but he's strictly a slot guy and not someone that's going to bring a real big play dimension to the offense. And Alshon Jeffrey's entering a contract year. We don't really know what the new regime thinks of him, other than that he was a little bit overweight last year. So a lot of incentive for him, but a lot of incentive for the Bears overall, once again, to upgrade that position with an alpha number 1, someone that can stretch the field and be a big play target.
And I think with Marquise Wilson, this new staff might like him, but he played a lot of slot receiver last year, so we're not sure where he's going to fit with this new offense. Speaking of pass catchers, briefly, tight end, Martellus Bennett's still here. We got to add in Dante Rosario's coming back, Zach Miller, the oft-injured but preseason star last year. Got to imagine they're still going to try to look for a number 2 tight end in the offseason. It's been a position battle to back up Martellus Bennett the past 2 seasons. Arthur, let's go to the offensive line. You have your starting group returning with a new center. I think the focus is going to be on Jordan Mills again, number 67 here at right tackle. Now remember, you got Michael Ola, who could be factoring that competition. We don't know if Kyle Long is going to move over to one of the tackle spots, but they could definitely add depth in the offensive line.
Yeah, not a lot of moving parts yet, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, the one was the stalwart Roberto Garza being released, Will Montgomery coming in 4 years younger, a little more familiar with the scheme they want to run, but I agree with you. I think that the pressure is on Jordan Mills. It's good for him. They haven't found that tackle replacement yet, but I believe they added flexibility by adding Vladimir Dukas. We know Kyle Long could probably be a Pro Bowl tackle. It's just dependent on where they want to slide, if they want to slide him out or not. So definitely some options, and the offensive line definitely has a step to take after a rough year.
Well, after all the questions about quarterback, it's the same group as last year. You got 6. Jay Cutler's going to be your quarterback in 2015. Jimmy Clausen is back, and David Fales. Now remember, this is not the regime that drafted David Fales, so we don't know what they think of the second-year player out of San Jose State. But as of now, this is what you got. Is quarterback still in need? Do they go after Marcus Mariota? Do they take one later on in the draft? We're going to have to wait and see. But as of now, it's the same depth chart as last season.
Right. We don't know what they think of David Fales, but we do know Ryan Pace's philosophy. You keep swinging until you make contact with the quarterback, much like he's addressed the outside linebacker position this year. So we'll have to wait and see. It'll also test the value premise of Ryan Pace. Is Marcus Mariota potentially the 7th best player in this draft if he's still on the board? I think there's a compelling argument to be made there.
Now, if we're going to talk about need more so than best player available, we know that the Bears want to try to go best player available. Running back's probably right after wide receiver. We know Matt Forte's here, last year of his contract. Kadeem Carey is back. The last year's regime didn't use him very much. What does Adam Gase think of Kadeem Carey? And then throw in Jaquiz Rodgers, a good third down, kind of a different change of pace back to throwback there. But a deep running back draft, they could draft one as early as the 2nd round.
Yeah, I think so. One thing we've known from both the Denver and New Orleans regimes is that they like to stockpile running backs. They like to play the hot hand. I think bringing in Jaquiz Rodgers makes a lot of sense. Really good in pass pro, as you said. Maybe can spell Matt Forte. Who knows what they have with Kadeem Carey. But yeah, in a loaded running back draft, don't rule this out as an early round pick.
Running back, wide receiver, offensive line, lots of spots for the Bears to add in this year's draft. And you have an offense that did not meet expectations last year, but still returned some Pro Bowlers. So we'll definitely be adding some names to this group after the draft. For all the best Bears news and analysis, stick right here at ChicagoFootball.com.